Good morning, comrades. We are whatever is left here with good time and fun stories to tell. I am Hunter.
I'm Dani.
Let us jump into it.
I was not expecting that.
No, we're just doing bits today.
Apparently, this is a bitty day. Okay, Hunter. I'll go first then. So let's talk about, as Hunter so lovingly called it earlier today, America's armpit, Alabama.
If you're from Alabama, all I want to say is that I am sorry. Not about what I said, but that you live in Alabama. Carry on with your story.
At least he stays consistent. So I'm not sure if you've heard about this. Probably not. A couple had gone through IVF treatment, and if you don't know what that is, it's in vitro fertilization. So it's when they bump you with a bunch of like hormonal drugs and then take as many eggs as they can and make sure that you have healthy eggs. And then your partner or a sperm donor comes and they inject.
Huh.
We have fun here, whatever is left. But they, make sure the swimmers are also swimming well. And instead of doing all the work for him, this is a very lazy start for this kid. They just right in. They inject the egg with the little swimmer, and boom, embryo, fertilized embryo.
Look at that little Michael Phelps doing what he's supposed to do.
Yes. And then the hope is that in a few days that, the cell divides and does all the like celly things that it needs to do. But before they do that, they typically freeze them. And it's usually in a local facility. But someone broke in to one of these facilities in Birmingham and dropped. So these are like super cold. Like you can't handle it with bare hands, or you're not supposed to, because if you do, you get burned and drop a tank of eggs, and they're not usable anymore.
Do you know how many eggs were dropped?
I am checking on that.
Because that could be the difference here in what we're going to talk about in a second. The fact that someone like broke in to try to steal a bunch of fertilized embryos.
It's actually it's not that uncommon, especially in custody disputes. So like I think not Eva Longoria, the other Latina who's really pretty and tall, who got a divorce because she didn't want to be an old mom. Modern Fabulous.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't have names.
But like that was a big battle to the divorces. She didn't want to have any more kids, but they had frozen eggs, and they had to go through court on that. But some people will lose that court battle or win, like depending on when you see, and will go and try and steal the eggs because either they don't want the person to use it, or they want to use it and they're not being allowed.
Interesting background on that topic that I did not know about.
It's like IVF has always been a very controversial and like legal minefield, especially when it comes to surrogacy, which is also iffy. It's liquid nitrogen that they put it in.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah, I was like, I know they do something where it's like a liquid and it makes it smoky. I'm trying to find how many eggs.
If you can't find it, that's fine.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of them, probably.
Yes, but this family like specifically lost like the last 3 that they had. When it was dropped and mismanaged, and because someone was trying to steal it. And so what this family did, because they lost something that they can't get back, went for wrongful death of a child, which is an odd way to go about it. But I get it. They're in mourning, and who am I to tell?
Who were they suing?
The the company. The company that's
Even though they were being broken into and robbed? From what it sounds like?
yeah.
Questionable basis for the case already.
It's it's like who's held liable in this case, and technically speaking, they're the ones who should be like.
If I put something valuable in a bank safe and the bank gets robbed,
it's the bank's fault, not yours.
mm-hmm.
In the sense that like
it's a weird
like
thing to try and sue someone over.
not technically it is your fault though because if you put it in a bank safe, you sign a little piece of paper saying that this isn't as secure.
You would think that would be the same thing about like fertilized embryos.
Yeah, but like you can't keep fertilized embryos in your freezer, and you're also not paying a bank thousands of dollars a year to hold on to your money. Like that's the other thing. Like these people pay a shit ton of money to keep their embryos safe.
Gotcha.
It's like, okay, if I hire private security and they're not protecting me and I get shot because they weren't protecting me, whose fault is that? It's the same idea. Like,
all right.
So the clinic is the private security. The eggs are the person who got shot.
What did they determine in Alabama? I'm sure it was something very just and insightful.
The Alabama Supreme Court ruled embryos are children. Embryos are children.
Frozen embryos are children.
Yep. And this is under their like abortion laws. So because of this,
because life starts at conception. For
yes.
them. Yeah.
That's the point. And people were warning about this. Like abortion activists have been talking about how the next step is IVF. And so like because of this ruling, it's basically made IVF treatments illegal in that state, and several clinics, including the University of Alabama at Birmingham Health Systems, paused their IVF treatments because of fear that they could be criminally or civilly prosecuted for having the embryos in the first place.
Well, having the embryos doesn't seem like it's the legal problem. It's if anything happens to those embryos is when it causes a legal problem.
Yeah, but it's because
technically they're alive. Even if they're frozen.
It's because it's a dangerous limbo, and it's the same way how a lot of states, when Roe v. Wade was struck down, a lot of abortion clinics just stopped performing things because they weren't sure how the law in their state was going to affect it. That is the domino effect of overturning Roe v. Wade. This all started because of their
Alabama. This is why you're the armpit.
And like you gotta remember, like this is stopping in the middle of like people are still trying. Like people were in the middle of their treatments. This isn't like IVF isn't like something you do like, oh, every first of the month all these women come and get injected and then they leave. No, they're taking hormone treatments. They are checking their cycles. They are doing a lot of work for this, and a lot of money. Like IVF is like 20 to like 40,000 for a round. And if you're doing multiple rounds, like you're because you want a child, like you want a biological child. I get it. I mean, I don't, because I don't want children, but like I get the biological need to reproduce. And if medically there are reasons that you can't by yourself without medical intervention, you should have that option. And if you have the means, like you should have that option. And it's crazy to me that we want the government out of our business until it becomes about reproductive rights and whether or not someone's able to carry a child. And in this case, it's not even whether or not I have an abortion, it's whether or not I can even have a child, because if I am paying this much for IVF, that means that this might be the last way I can have a biological kid, and the government's telling me I can't. And I said that this was how, like, I called it out when Roe was overturned. I was like, the thing that people are forgetting, Roe didn't just protect women's right to choose to have an abortion. It also protected women's rights to choose to have children. This is the dangerous outcomes, because Roe originally came out of the original abortion conversation came out of a woman in the military who got pregnant and was told that if she stayed, she had to get an abortion, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg protected her right to carry her child. That is the start of reproductive justice, like, not the start, but like one of the first cases that really cemented a woman's right to choose. And this is what's happening.
Very important conversations that we're having here.
And Alabama's just the start of it. It's gonna be a ripple effect. I'm sorry, I'm like tangent mode for this story, and I think it's just because I think how or when people choose to have families should be people's choice, not the government telling me like, oh, Danny, you are 27 years old with a viable uterus, you should get pregnant now. And that's it. Like, that's all that I get. Like, because it's what it feels like.
Well, I know our audience just heard all that.
But like, I don't know. I think it's scary. It's scary to think. And I just, yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole can of worms that they opened up.
Yeah, and I don't think the couple initially, I don't think the couple initially meant for this to happen. I don't think they wanted this to happen. I think they were truly devastated, and the way they went about it was poorly done, and it's not their fault. Like, I'm not blaming this couple. It just sucks that now, because
it's in Alabama.
Yeah, but this is it. This is that cornerstone.
If this had happened in New York or California or Massachusetts or Washington, this probably would have been a different case.
Oh yeah, this would have been a different conversation if it had been in one of those states. But because it's Alabama, or if it had been Texas, it would have been the same outcome. It's too weird. And I don't know. I always think back of when talking to forced birthers, and they're like, all life is sacred, and you're like, okay, well, I have a baby on my in one hand and an embryo, a petri dish. I will drop one of them. You can only save one. Who are you choosing? And we all know that they're going to choose like the infant child and not
right.
But now, like, they basically said it, like, oh, we can't choose because they're the same thing.
Let's sum this story up by letting me get your opinion.
Okay.
Are frozen embryos babies?
No.
Are they living?
No.
Okay. All right.
They're frozen?
No. Just no.
Are frozen fish alive?
No.
Not to compare the two, not to trivialize childbirth and IVF, but like they haven't, like, it's still a single cell. It hasn't even done the dividing process yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to call that a baby.
I don't think that's
a human being yet.
Life. I don't think it's fair to call that life yet.
I think it's fair to
human
call
life.
It life. But
human life, I should say. Because yeah, technically.
Whether or not that life in that earliest stage of development should be legally protected like it's a full-fledged person.
Life versus being alive.
Where people,
there's a difference.
Life versus being alive, and that's where they lose me.
Yeah.
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, I think I got my tangent out.
Yeah, you could have done a whole 10-minute Friday on that one.
No 10-minute Fridays. It'd be a 10-minute Tuesday, if anything.
Oh, well, keep an eye out for that guy.
We like alliteration around here.
As you see from our Wake Up Wednesday.
And our 5-Minute Fridays.
So, for my first story, now that I get a turn.
Yes, you get your turn.
Let's talk about NATO, the super cool club of awesome Western nations that are all best friends and hate Russia.
I almost chose this story. Fun fact. I'm glad you chose it.
They've added a new nation to their ranks.
Oh, who is it, Hunter?
Sweden. Sweden have joined NATO.
Do you think they bring fish with them?
After an extensive wait period due to questionable holdout nations like Turkey and Hungary having a grudge against Sweden.
Turkey and what?
Hungary.
Okay, that's not how you said it, but okay.
How did I say it?
You said Hungary.
I said Hungary.
Okay, we'll go with that. Wait, let's back up though. Turkey and Hungary disliked Sweden?
Yeah, they had beef with Sweden. So last year, Finland was able to join without like a whole lot of problems. But they were like,
yeah,
I don't know about Sweden, though. Like, Sweden, they got to, like, bring something to the table to sweeten the pot a little bit if they want to join NATO. If they want Turkish and Hungarian soldiers to come to their defense if they're ever invaded, they gotta change their ways a little bit.
Oh, so, are you saying because they're too passive? Like, they're like, nah, I'm out. I'm neutral here.
So Sweden actually was a neutral nation throughout both world wars, and the last time it was in a major war was in the 1800s.
Damn.
It's been a neutral nation for a very long time. And for it to join a military alliance like NATO it's noteworthy because of how long they've been a neutral nation for. So as to where that beef was coming from, the beef with Turkey.
Okay.
There's some food jokes in there somewhere. Turkey disliked that Sweden was hospitable to the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or the PKK. I don't know a whole lot about them, but Turkey labels them as a terrorist organization, I'm pretty sure. And Sweden didn't have a problem, or at least not any major problems, with having this group in some way inside of their country.
Oh, is it like... Never mind. Nope, not going to make that comparison.
Okay. You can tell me after the show.
I will.
But, yeah, so I guess Sweden tightened up some of its laws or policies regarding that to Turkey's liking. Apparently, the U.S. smoothed things over by selling them a bunch of fighter jets, and now they suddenly are fine with Sweden joining. And they approved Sweden a little while ago. Hungary was the one that approved them last week.
It just needed a little snack, that's all.
Hungary was holding out due to past remarks that Sweden had made about Hungary's questionable nationalistic government under Premier Orbán. They've been like slipping into some like questionable right-wing nationalistic tendencies.
So they pulled out old tweets, and that's why Hungary was mad?
Not even like old tweets, probably like more recent comments in the last couple of years. I don't know how long Orbán's been in power there for, but Hungary's been a little bit questionable, and Sweden made some comments, and they didn't like it, but the leader of both countries met in Hungary last week, smoothed things over. Hungary agreed to let them join NATO. And apparently there was like some sort of trade deal that they were working on. But yeah, that's what happened. And now another nation has joined the super cool, awesome club of Western nations that are all best friends and hate Russia.
2010 is when he joined office as Prime Minister of Hungary.
Gotcha. So he's been there for a hot minute.
14 years. 14 years in May.
I wonder how many more terms he's allowed to run for. If you guys know, tell me in the comments.
Yes, please do.
What do you think about the story?
and not surprised why they were like hesitant, like, you're a bit too neutral for us.
It's worth noting also that Turkey and Hungary have better relations with Russia than the rest of NATO does. They have a lot better of a relationship with Russia, and to see them be the last holdouts is not surprising.
No. I do think it's an interesting time period for Sweden to join. I think they are preparing.
Yeah, just like Finland.
Yeah, but the Finns didn't have any pushback.
No, not as much. I guess they didn't make as many mean comments about Hungary.
Yeah, maybe it was tiny hands.
Anyway, but yeah, that's Sweden for you.
I'm happy that they are part of the super cool club of Western friends, best friends that hate Russia.
That's basically what NATO is at this point.
Yeah, but NATO sounds so much cooler than the super cool club of awesome Western nations that are all best friends.
SCCAWNTAABFHR.
HR.
The Hate Russia Club. But yeah, I don't think Russia's going to be happy about this. That's
no.
2 extra nations that were neutral before that have now joined in an alliance basically specifically against them. So they're going to be upset about that. So I'm sure that's going to smooth things over in Ukraine.
Yeah, it's going to smooth things over like crunchy peanut butter.
That's not very smooth at all.
Unlike my transition, which is let's talk about some real beef.
Okay, Danny.
Let's talk about Wendy. These Wendy's. They're becoming uber late.
Are they delivering me my own food when I order off of Uber Eats?
No. But let's say you're pulling to that drive-through during lunchtime. Like let's say 12:30, it's a weekend, you're just chilling, wanting some Wendy's. Want some 5 for $5. And you look up to that digital menu, because that's how they're doing it, is with the digital menu. And you see that your standard meal that is like normally like, let's say $5 for this purpose, is now $6. Because they are now charging surge prices for rush time. And the prices will change based off of the time of day, and it's going to be like digital.
So if I pull up to that drive-thru and there's absolutely no one in there, is it going to be cheaper than the base price?
No, you get base price. It's base price.
So it only gets more expensive is
yes.
what they're saying.
So it's up, you may be seeing up to $1 during peak lunch hours, and only to revert to the original price afterwards.
Well, I gotta say, that is dumb, and I hate it.
Yeah, I'm not... This is crazy to me in a time period where...
It's already getting more expensive to eat out.
Yeah, I was like, when a lot of stores and restaurants are closing down because people can't afford... I get it, it's like $1, but like, let's say I'm a mom and I'm just trying to feed some kids and like I have the exact amount that I need to feed.
God, that first story really put you in mom mode.
It really did. I don't know why. But I have just enough to feed my kids to this Wendy's meal that they've been begging for, but now I can't give them their Frosty that I promised, and now I'm the one that's never going to hear the end of it because Wendy's decided that they wanted to make an extra $1 off of me.
Yeah, after making us sit in the drive-thru for like 20 minutes.
Forever. And then you still have to pull up. And I'm not mad at the service workers. They're doing the best that they can. They are overworked and underpaid. But if I have to wait and you're going to tell me to pull up, why are my fries still cold?
You're spending your time, your energy, and even more of your money than usual. just so the Wendy's can keep making extra bucks off you.
And you know that money's not going back to the workers.
No,
Yeah.
probably not.
Like I think I'd be a little bit more okay with this story if they said like, yeah, so because they're stressed out, we want to increase their pay during this time. So whatever extra that is
like
made
if
gets
there
divided.
Was, yeah, if it went directly into the workers' paychecks for that
I wouldn't.
week or day.
Yeah. Would not complain.
It's certainly a relief in some regard.
I think I would be more inclined to visit Wendy at that point. I was like, oh, you wanna give them a pat on the back for working through what is the worst time to be working? Yeah. Like that'd be a cool marketing move on Wendy's part. That's not what they're gonna do, but
Probably not. Almost certainly not. But yeah, they should not do this.
They should. I think they're getting enough backlash from them announcing. I think this was what they were just trying to see, like test a little toe in the water and be like,
hey, what do you guys think about this? Oh, you hate it. Gotcha.
Okay, so we're not gonna do that. Good job.
Can't wait to see what the Wendy's Twitter account has
I
to say
was
about that.
thinking that. I was like, okay, just because the account is funny does not mean you can rip us off. I kind of want Wendy's now, though.
Oh no, it's working. My next story is a somber one.
You would choose this one right after the stupid Wendy's story.
Well, do you want to end the night off on it? I think not.
Valid.
So, a U.S. airman has set himself on fire outside of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. to protest the war in Gaza. 25-year-old Aaron Bushnell of San Antonio filmed the event, yelling, "Free Palestine," before collapsing. He succumbed to his injuries in the hospital. Aaron was not the first to do this in protest. In December, an unidentified woman in Atlanta did the same thing in protest of what's happening in Palestine. It's a sad story. Yeah. I remember seeing another article saying that one of these Palestinian organizations that the United States government identifies as a terrorist organization sent out a message in solidarity with Aaron Bushnell, saying, basically that he was a hero for, sacrificing himself for their cause.
He was 25, damn.
Yeah, 25 years old.
And he
objectively young guy.
Objectively?
Yeah.
I think he was a young guy.
Yeah.
He's still a baby.
Not like a 17, 18-year-old, but yeah. Young guy had a future ahead of him.
I mean, yeah, because he was an airman too, pension.
I'm not sure if he was active military or not, but yeah, sad story. I personally can't imagine doing that in protest.
Oh God, no.
And it makes me wonder what goes on in the heads of the people who are considering going that far.
Oh, he was dressed in his military fatigues.
Yeah.
That is an important part of that. I think that's the real big statement that he was making.
Yeah, I'm sure he felt complicit. And I'm sure that was heartbreaking.
I hate that this news article puts genocide in quotations like it's not what's going on in Israel in Gaza right now.
He made comments saying that what's happening in Gaza is a genocide, and we here on the show agree with that statement.
Yeah. Free Palestine and the genocide.
Ceasefire now. But yeah, it's a tough story to read. It's a sad one.
Yeah.
Ooh. I wish his loved ones the best.
He he knew. He actually knows something. So he was part of the Air Force 70th Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Wing, and was a cyber defense operations specialist. Yeah, so he was active duty and has served since May of 2020. Huh.
My recommendation is that if you're going to protest what's happening in Gaza, that this is not the way to go.
There's enough death going on. We shouldn't add to it.
Aaron Bushnell certainly made a statement with his actions.
Yeah.
But is that worth his life? I'm not sure. Like I said, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't want anyone in our audience to go that far. You are allowed to see what's happening in Gaza for the atrocity that it is without needing to sacrifice yourself to make a statement in protest of it.
Yeah. I think there are non-lethal ways to do this.
Now that I have thoroughly ruined the vibe of this Wake Up Wednesday this morning.
I'm going to continue doing it.
Oh, you're going to make it worse? No.
Just slightly.
Okay.
An Illinois judge was removed from the bench after the courts commission said that he engaged in multiple instances of misconduct and abused his position of power to indulge in his own sense of justice while circumventing the law. So this judge became infamous when he reversed a man's conviction of rape involving a 16-year-old girl, saying that 148 days was enough punishment for him and his crime.
Do you have any information about the rapist who did this?
I should have some, yes. He was 18 when he was convicted, so like it's always yeah.
The slap on the wrist because he's
a
young.
kid, yeah. It was Judge Robert Adrian, and yeah, he said the 148 days that Drew Clinton, 18 at the time, in Illinois, like I said, Drew Clinton, he should be like, I'm trying to see, 22, yeah, so he should be like 20 now.
Reversed the conviction?
Yeah, he reversed the sexual assault conviction of him, saying that 148 days he spent behind bars is enough punishment. He was found guilty of one count of criminal sexual assault, October of 2021, and was supposed to serve a minimum. Remember, we do have sentencing minimums. Was 4 years. He spent less than half of one.
While I do believe that it's true that prison can scare people into correcting their ways, I do not think that less than half of a year is an appropriate amount of time spent for that kind of crime.
Almost 5 months. Not even 5 months. Almost 5 months. And because he had no prior incidents and no criminal record, okay, he still sexually assaulted a girl and was found by a jury of his peers guilty. And he says the people failed to prove their case. like, what's the point of having, like, what's the point of going through our legal system if a judge is going to look at someone's like, oh, well, I don't agree with what 12 people decided to do and reverse it. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly he should not have been let out after less than half of a year. Probably should have stayed there the entire 4-year minimum or however long the justice system felt like making him stay there for. But what happened to this judge?
Yeah, he got removed from the bench. He is no.
Does he have a history of doing this kind of thing, or is this a one-off?
It. Well, the way that the people says he engaged in multiple instances of misconduct.
Are any of those other instances of misconduct provided in the article?
I'm double checking. Abuse of power.
It's fine if that's the only incident that they provide information about. But if they have the other ones, that would be cool to know for additional context as to why this judge was removed from the bench. Because one event of misconduct is enough in my book to remove someone from the bench, certainly. But if there's more that he's done wrong, I do want to know about it.
Ew.
Anything interesting?
Vaughn said that the judge told the court this is what happens whenever parents allow teenagers to drink, to swim in pools with their undergarments on. He's victim blaming here.
Victim blaming and parent blaming.
Yeah.
Young people aren't responsible for their own actions.
Heart is bleeding for the victim.
Your brain is underdeveloped, but it's developed enough to know right from wrong.
He put a pillow over her head. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He was trying to silence her. Like, she was laying down. She was just laying down. She had woke up at her friend's place with a pillow over her face, so she couldn't be heard. And the guy doing what he was doing. And she had asked him multiple times to stop, and he wouldn't. And they just started playing video games like nothing happened.
What?
I did not do a lot of research on the case that caused this all, because I was just like, oh, we're gonna talk about the judge.
This case sounds interesting, to say the least. This guy should have had the book thrown at him.
And he got one, like, yes, he was going to probably have to, register as a sex offender. As he should.
As he should.
Because he is a sex offender. Just remember, his name is Drew Clinton of Illinois. So I'm assuming it's his full name is Andrew. But, like, Drew. Yeah, people were saying the verdict and Adrian's comments send a chilling message to other rape victims that their behavior, not the rapist, will be judged. So shame the victims, free the rapist.
Yeah, I'm glad to see this guy removed from the bench.
Yeah, I hate when it's just like that reminder of a few years ago. The guy who sexually assaulted a girl behind
Brock Turner.
Yes, Brock Turner. Technically not a rapist. He was charged with sexual assault, which he changed his name. I can't remember what he's going by nowadays, but he's still out there living his life.
Unfortunately.
Keep my So do you have a lighter note?
I do.
Since we went back to back, really heavy shit.
Back to back heavy shit. Yeah, my last story is a lot later.
Because I don't think our audience can handle like another heavy story.
Japan.
We like Japan here.
Japan's slim moon lander, standing perfectly for smart lander for investigating moon, has come back online after it tipped over and one of its solar panels was at the wrong angle. It wasn't able to like get a charge anymore.
No. Poor Slim.
It made it just 180 feet away from its landing site before it tipped over. It didn't make it very far at all. Then it ran out of power. And it stayed inoperable for most of the last month. And then, when a change in the sunlight's direction hit the solar panel, it brought it back online. And the team that was operating it was shocked because this lander was not meant to survive nighttime on the lunar surface.
Oh!
It was not meant to survive, but it did. And now it's back running again.
Well, we really will bond back with anything. I'm over here like, I was gonna make a Slim Shady joke, and now I'm over here like, Slim, you're alive. It's like
and that was taking more photos of the lunar surface and sending it back to Earth.
That's a real Slim Shady right there. He stood up.
I'm imagining like the humor and disappointment in this Japanese the landing team. It's like, yes, we landed this cool slim lander on the moon. We did it.
And it's going.
It makes it 180 feet from its landing site, and it just tips over and then just stops working.
We're like, go little rock star.
And they had to be thinking, oh, this thing's a goner. We just wasted all this money to get it to the moon. It's a lot of money.
But it survived not only one lunar night, it's
a bunch of them.
Yeah, it survived
a
whole month of lunar nights. I don't know how I don't know time on the moon.
Yeah, well, it's pretty crazy.
You do love your space stories.
I do love space stories. So whenever there's a good space story, you can trust me. I throw it into my Wake Up Wednesdays.
Little smart lander for investigating moon, just going out there and investigating the moon like a big robot he is.
And maybe this time he won't trip over some rocks or fall off a ledge and
Ledge? What ledge? Okay.
There are craters.
The moon is round. I know. I was like, this is not a flat moon podcast.
The Earth is flat, but the moon is definitely round. You can see it up there in space. No,
You heard it here, folks. Hunter's a flat earther.
Absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. There's the F-bomb for tonight. But, yeah, that's my fun story.
I'm glad we're ending on
I'm
Slim
glad
Shady.
The Slim Moonlander is operable again, and hopefully it doesn't, make it 180 feet and then fall over again. Like the derpy little machine that it is.
I have like an image in my head of what it looks like. Let me see if it's.
You gotta put up a picture of the Slim Moonlander for our audience.
I will definitely do that because I think this cutie pie deserves all the love. How did he tip?
I don't know. But it survived.
And that's all we care about.
We want the best for Slim. The smart lander for investigating moon.
Look at this little backpack of solar panels.
Adorable.
It really is.
I feel like I need little animations about Slim and his moon adventures.
Like a little comic of Slim being like, I'm up here by my... and it starts off with him just falling. He lands and makes it he's like doo 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 doo, and waits a whole month to recharge. I want Slim to have an existential crisis as it's waiting for its death because he knows he's not supposed to survive.
Yeah.
Huh? I don't know. It made Japan the 5th country to probe the moon, to put a probe on the moon.
Yeah, good for Japan. Cool stuff, cool beans. But that's my last story for the night.
That's our last story for the night.
Very true. I'm glad I was able to bring it back to a lighter note.
Yeah, we needed that.
I hope that
we have to bring it back.
That brightens up your Wednesday after we gave you guys some super sad shit to dwell on.
I think from now on our sad stories should just both be in the middle and not like one in the middle.
Put the fun stories at the beginning and the end. Sad stuff in the middle.
Yeah, like
we have a new new format.
That way you guys aren't getting random whiplash of like fun and then sad.
But these have been our stories, comrades.
Thank you for listening to us this wonderful morning.
Have a great rest of your day.
We'll see you guys next time.